Welcome students for the next session, parametric test, non-parametric test and hypothesis testing. In previous classes, we discussed about various analysis, started with correlation analysis, regression analysis, multiple regression analysis, cluster analysis, factor analysis, conjoint analysis and discriminant analysis. Everything is not related with each other according to the requirement or according to the market requirement or according to the nature of the data. The analysis are different from each other. Any of you start the analysis, first you have to check whether there is a relationship between the two variable or group of data. Okay, for that we have to check, test. For that there are so many tests are there. Anyhow, the analysis is to be, the data analysis is to be verified, validated through some statistical test. Okay. So if you say statistics, the statistics is assuming that the distribution of the data is normal. The data are normally distributed. So if the data is normally distributed, then we can apply a parametric test. Okay. Any analysis is to be ensured validated through a statistical test or other test. Okay. If you want to continue any analysis, first you have to do some basic analysis. It is not that after completing the analysis we can do the test. The analysis started with some test. In each and every stage, there should be a test. And if the test is success, then only you go to the next level. If you won't conduct the test, the analysis is not meaningful, not worthy. So to what extent we understood the analysis, to that extent we have to understand about the test. Okay. So analysis side, you understood about where we have to apply this analysis, or in which situation which analysis. Okay, or for this data what type of analysis, that we understood. Whatever may be the analysis, we have to conduct the test. So in that, one such a test is parametric test and non-parametric test. So let us see about parametric test. It is a statistical test. It's a formal technique based on probability distribution for arriving at decision against hypothesis. Okay. So again, that is under the parametric test, hypothesis testing is coming. Statistical test is a formal technique based on probability distribution. The data are normally distributed. The test technique make use of one or more values obtained from sample data, often called statistics, to arrive at a probability statement about the hypothesis. The test techniques also make use of some more assumption about population from which the sample is drawn. So we are making some assumption, some prediction about the population based on the sample. If the sample mean is this, or the sample having this type of characteristics, then the population may have this type of characteristics. Only we are saying, but may be true or may not be true. Based on our sample, we are telling like that. That's why in sampling, the sample should be representative of the population. If the sample is not representative of the population, okay, so whatever our prediction may go wrong. By the time the population is wrong, but we are saying the right thing. So again, that will type 1 error, type 2 error, that will come, that we'll discuss later. Okay, it may assume that the population is normally distributed and a sample is drawn on a random basis. Under a parametric test, the following are the common tests: Z test, T test, F test and chi-square test. So Z test is for the sample size is more than 30, and T test is for the sample size is less than 30, and F test is for analyzing the variances. Okay. It is generally assumed that all practical data follow normal distribution. So one can estimate the parameters such as mean, variance, okay, and mode, something, the parameter, statistical parameter, etc., and use the standard test. Hence, the test is known as parametric test. Okay. So, under the parametric test, we can bring out the statistical inferences. Under the parametric test, it is assumed that data is normally distributed. Okay, and these are all the following 4 tests under the parametric test. Then coming to non-parametric test. In non-parametric, it is generally assumed that all practical data formal, but in some situation, the practical data may be non-normal. It is not normal. It is not normally distributed. Okay, non-normal. If the practical data is non-normal, it may not be possible to estimate the parameters of the data. Parameters of the data, that mean, median, mode, and variance, standard deviation. It is not possible to estimate the parameters. The tests which are used to such situation are called non-parametric tests. If the data set is non-normal nature, or it is not distributed normally, it does not follow the normal distribution pattern, then the test, whatever you are applying, that test are called as non-parametric test. Since these tests are free from distribution and the parameters, it is called as distribution free test. This test can be used for nominal and ordinal data. Okay, here the nominal or ordinal non-metric data. So in parametric test, only non-metric data can be used. That is, only nominal and ordinal data can be used in non-parametric test. But in parametric test, we can use interval scale, interval data, and ratio data, and also we can use nominal and ordinal if it is distributed under the normal distribution. No need to compute parameters. This test is less calculation. The test can be applied to small samples, more specifically during pilot studies in market research. When you compare with the parametric test, the non-parametric tests are not much in use because the samples, sometimes it is maybe distributed under the interval scale, interval data, or it is a ratio data. There you cannot apply the non-parametric test, but whereas parametric test can be applied. But what is the specialty of the non-parametric test? If the data is not distributed normally or non-normal data, that's the advantage of the non-parametric test. Inference about the population can be made by this test when the assumption of the standard methods cannot be satisfied. The non-parametric test involve no or less restricting assumptions when compared with parametric test. So following are the non-parametric test: one sample test, one sample sign test, chi-square test, Kolmogorov-Simorov test, run test. Then two sample test, two sample sign test, median test, Mann-Whitney test, U-test, rank sum test. Then K samples, more samples, median test, Kutzko-Walsik test. So just what are the tests available under the non-parametric? Again, non-parametric tests also there to validate the data or to get into the further process. So in the series, in parametric and non-parametric, the one of the important things is hypothesis testing. Hypothesis is a specific statement of prediction. It describes concrete rather than theoretical terms what you expect to happen in your study. Variable A and variable B will be related. Usually the hypothesis that you support your prediction is called alternate hypothesis. Support is called null. The hypothesis that describes the remaining possible outcome is termed as null hypothesis. Okay, I explain through an example here. So here we state the null hypothesis. XYZ company measures the company's customers' payment to the company. The company is manufacturing some product and it is selling on a credit basis. So the creditors, the customers should make a payment. Okay, that is called receivables That is a weighted, that is they are giving a 50 days credit. Okay, you understood the credit period. So the company wants to know about what are the average credit period. So if there are more than 500 customers or 1000 customers, and collecting the data from each and every customer's delay date, it is very difficult process. So earlier, that is previous data says that the average collection day is 50 days with a standard deviation of 10 days plus or minus 10 days. So here the null hypothesis assumption is that okay, the average collection period is 50 days. Okay, we are trying to prove or disprove. The alternate hypothesis is the average collection period is not equal to 50 days, alternate hypothesis, or the average collection period may be greater than 50 days, or the average collection period is less than 50 days. Okay, so here maybe 50 days, may not be good to tell. It is greater than 50 days means if the customers are not followed by our company persons, or if the customers are lag or not making the payment properly, then the average collection period will increase from 52 plus 52 or 54, whatever it may be. Or if the customers are very prompt, they have a good financial capability, and for the past days they are making the payment, means the average collection period may come down. And anyhow, it won't be exactly 50 days. Okay, so come here. When you are interpreting the result for more test, if the calculated value is larger than the critical value, we reject the null hypothesis and conclude that the alternate hypothesis is supported or accepted, although it by is no proof. Here the critical value is larger, we conclude that we have failed to reject the null hypothesis, accept the null. Okay, so here statistical test gives only a chance to disprove. That is my point. Disprove. What is disprove? It is not equal. That is null hypothesis. The average collection period is not equal. Disprove. Then null hypothesis. Okay, rejecting the null hypothesis, or fail to reject the null hypothesis, accept the null hypothesis. Okay, so here rejecting the null hypothesis, accepting the alternate. Okay, rejecting the null hypothesis, accepting, or fail to reject the null hypothesis. So coming back here. So one more example here, it is explained here. Okay, the logic of hypothesis testing is based on two principles. Two mutually exclusive hypothesis statements that together exhaust all possible outcomes need to be developed. The hypothesis must be tested so that it is necessarily accepted and other is rejected. So if one is accepted, the other is rejected, or one is rejected, the other is accepted. That is the meaning of mutually exclusive hypothesis. In our prediction was correct, we would usually reject the null hypothesis and accept the alternate. If our prediction was not supported in the data, we will accept the null hypothesis and reject the alternate. So here statistical hypothesis testing, statistical testing procedure. State the null hypothesis. So null hypothesis, the average collection period is equal to 50 days, and alternate not equal, you can write it, or greater than or less than. Then choose the statistical test, SIR test or t-test or f-test, whatever it may be, according to the type of measurement scale, sample size, data. Okay, even it may be a parametric test or non-parametric test. If the data is nominal and ordinal, if it is interval and ratio, then it is parametric test. And if the data is distributed normally, then it is parametric test. If the data is not distributed normally, non-normal, then it is non-parametric test. Select the desired level of significance. Most common level is significant 0.05 or 0.01. This alpha and beta we will in great detail we will discuss under the type 1 error and type 2 error in the same session. Compute the calculated difference. use appropriate formula based on step 1 and step 2, then obtain the critical test value from the table with the help of, then interpret the result. For more tests, if the calculated value is larger than the critical value, we reject the null hypothesis. Okay, what is critical value? That also in the critical value also in the type 1, type 2 error slide. So here, how to determine the null hypothesis, how to interpret the results. And this hypothesis testing, often the student or we have to make clear about what is type 1 error and type 2 error. Okay, that I will explain with 2 or 3 examples in the next slide. Type 1 error, rejecting a good lot. Type 2 error, accepting a bad lot. Okay, we'll come to the hypothesis testing and accepting the null hypothesis and rejecting the alternate. That will come later. So assume that in a manufacturing company, the company is manufacturing certain product. Say for example, mobile phone, anything for that matter, you take it. The company is manufacturing 1000 units per day or 10,000 units per day or 10,000 chances or 10,000 stages of manufacturing stages. And in today's context, because of high volume of production, each and every product cannot be inspected. Even it is inspected, we cannot find the even in that lot, if there is a defective component is there, we can't exactly trace out the defective component, because by manual mistake the defective component may enter into the accepted lot. Okay, even 100% inspection is there, there are chances of the defective components enter into the good lot, enter into the outgoing lot. So what I'm saying is, though we are employing 100% inspection, there is a chance of getting a bad component going to the customer. So what is this? So we are selecting a sample, like in our hypothesis or like in our analysis, we are going for a sample. So there are 1000 units are manufactured. I can't inspect all the 1000 units. I'll take a sample. Okay. The sample may be 10 or 20 or 500 according to the outgoing quality level. I'll take more samples. If the outgoing quality level is very highly required, better quality I need, I'll take more samples. If the outgoing quality level is moderately enough or even coarse quality is enough, I'll take less samples. That population is estimated with less samples, or the population is estimated with high samples. That's the concept here. So in our analysis, population, sample. Here the lot and a sample. Okay. I'll come into type 1 error. So based on the sample, I'll inspect. Okay. Out of 1000 unit, I'll test only some around 100 unit or 120 unit. If the population is really good, the population is really good, out of 1000 unit, mostly 900 units are good. 990 units are good, but the 10 units are not good. Unfortunately, I picked the 10 units and I'll say I found defects in that lot, so I'll reject it. The manufacturer of the lot is claiming that the lot is good, but as an inspection department, I'll claim that the lot is bad because I found 10 samples are the worst in that sample. Based on the sample only, I didn't inspect all the 1000 units. In the selected sample of 120, I found 10 units are mistake. Okay, so based on my sample, though the population is good, most probably good, I will reject it. Understand? Based on the sample, that sample unit out of 120, 10 units are defect. So since I found 10 units are defective units, I am going to reject it. So here, rejecting a good lot. The lot is good, but based on my sample, I'll reject it, rejecting a good lot. It's called as type 1 error. Then what is type 2 error? Accepting a bad lot. Inspection, inspector. Accepting a bad lot. Okay. That is, the lot, again the same lot, 1000 unit, more than 100 units are defective. So I can say the lot is a defective lot. But while I am taking a sample, I didn't find any mistake, because all the sample I picked up from the population, all the 120 is very perfect. So I can't say the population is wrong. Why? Why I can't say like that? All the 120 units are good. So when I am inspecting the sample, all the sample says good, but really the lot is a bad lot having 100 plus defective components. But I didn't get any defective components in my sample, because the sample I didn't represent the whole population. That's different story. So here, accepting a bad lot based on my sample test, based on my sample data, I will accept it. Okay, that is called as type 2 error. Okay, so here maybe we discuss about type 1 error. Rejecting a good lot is type 1 error. Accepting a bad lot is a type 2 error. So assume that the company is manufacturing a life-saving drug. Life-saving drug. What is type 2 error? Accepting a bad lot. Accepting a bad lot. Can we do the type 2 error in life-saving drug? That is, can we accept the defective drugs? Defective drugs? No, it should not. Why? It will spoil the human life. So there should not be even 1% or 0.00% defective drug should not be there in the lot. So I need high precision. High precision. Okay. So at any cost, I don't want to do the type 2 error in drug or in inspecting the drug. So I want only a less type 2 error. If I expect high quality, whichever lots is coming, even I find one mistakes, I'll reject it. Out of sample, even if I find one mistake, I'll reject it. So here, if you want to minimize the type 2 error, type 1 error will increases. Then a victim, okay, made few mistakes, judge giving punishment, correct decision. And again we are calling victim. He didn't make any mistake, but judge is punished based on the evidence supported by others. The judge is saying that punishment, wrong decision. That is, the victim, he didn't make any mistake. He is true, right person, but the judge is giving a wrong. He is rejecting. He is giving a punishment. Okay, wrong decision. Type 1 error. Victim made few mistakes. Yes, but the judge didn't give any punishment, because the evidences supported is not good. No punishment. But the victim did a mistake. No punishment. Wrong decision. Type 2 error. So victim, he didn't make any mistake. Judge, no punishment. Correct decision. That is, victim, he did not make any mistakes, no punishment, correct decision. If victim did mistake, punishment, correct decision. Okay. Victim didn't make any mistake, but judge is punished, it is type 1 error. Victim made few mistakes and no punishment means it is wrong decision, type 2 error. Victim is good, no punishment, correct decision. Victim is good, punishment, type 1 error. Victim is bad, no punishment, type 2 error. Victim is bad, punishment, correct decision, no error. Yes, as per our constitution, many victims, those who made mistakes, may not be punished, but a true person called as victim, but he didn't, in a true sense, he didn't make any mistake, should not be punished. So many victims may not be punished, but a true person should not be punished. Okay, many victims may not be punished. Okay, maybe type 2 error may be accepted here, but here the type 1 error should not be. Here a judge should not make the type 1 error. If you want to reduce the probability of doing a type 1 error, the probability of doing type 2 error will increase. There is a trade-off between type 1 error and type 2 error. Okay, in this victim case, we want to reduce the type 1 error and we are accepting the type 2 error. But in the inspection, inspecting the drugs, we don't want to compromise on poor quality. Okay, and even we are ready to accept the type 1 error, even we are ready to rejecting a good lot, but at any cost, we don't want to accepting a bad lot. So we are not compromising in this drug case. We are not compromising on the accepting a bad lot or type 2 error. Okay, so here the alpha is a type 1 error and beta is the type 2 error. Okay, that is alpha at 5% means 0.05, 5% of the time the type 1 error may accept. Okay, in earlier case, inspector life-saving drug, I accept the bad lot. Here type 2 error will be minimum. Okay. The acceptance of the error implies that we have no evidence from the sample of information or the document submitted, no evidence to believe otherwise, and indicates that the difference is not significant and is due to the chances, that is, it is due to the nature of the document not submitted or due to the samples drawn from the population, sampling experience. Hence, I accepted. Difference is not significant, no difference between the sample characters and the population characters. Hence, I accepted. A rejection. The rejection of the null hypothesis implies that it is a false and indicates that the difference is significant. There is a difference between sample, what is drawn, and the population. So that's the difference between document. So accepted is supported, rejected, not supported. Would I say difference is not significant, not difference to accept? Yes, there is a normal distribution curve. This is the critical region. This is the critical value. Okay, this is the calculated value. If the calculated within the accepted region, we will accept it. If the calculated value is beyond the critical value, reject it. It is critical value is the value that of the statistic which separates the critical region from the accepted region. It lies at the boundary of the region of acceptance and rejection. This is acceptance region, it's a rejection region. Here, this is the critical value line. Judge should not make the type 1 error. Life-saving drug, he should not do the type 2 error. Power of test is the probability of rejecting a false hypothesis. Power of test is nothing but 1 minus probability of type 2 error. For the test, for test of hypothesis involving a large sample size that is greater than 30, t-test less than 30, for chi-square x-test for testing the discrepancies between observed frequencies and expected frequencies without any reference to population parameter, for f-test for testing of sample variances, and in that one-tail test and two-tail test. Okay. So with that, I conclude that parametric test and non-parametric test and hypothesis testing. Maybe next session we will discuss about chi-square test.